Hello everyone and welcome to Kick It to Scoops. I'm your host Cooper Gretsch, the sole admin of AFL information, trade rumours and results. Got a big show for you guys today. We've got the world famous segment Scoops Goes Bang. We've got my super coach talk. I've got reviewing round 15 and previewing round 16, my team of the week, my rolling all Australian team. And just a reminder, as I said last week and plenty of weeks have noticed, the Scoops medal votes will no longer be read on the show, but never fear. They will be in a big bulk edition of the Scoops Medal Extravaganza. It'll be between round 23 and week 1 of the finals. And fair to say the leaderboard is heating up. The names you would have seen last week are clearly in contention. And there's about 10 other names realistically in the mix. And who's to say that someone that's barely polled a vote this year can get consecutive amount of threes? It'd probably have to go pretty well, but to wait and see. I know the leaderboard. You do not for right now. No one will know until the end of the Scoops Medal Extravaganza. Did I say extravaganza? It's going to be an extravaganza. Scoops Medal. Will it be the winner, back-to-back winner, Jack Macrae? Or will someone finally take out Jack Macrae and win the Scoops Medal? Well, Jack Macrae won the home and away and the finals. The finals one's a bit easier to win because it's 3 to 4 games max. But you know what I mean. The home and away season, Jack Macrae was the first winner of the first time ever Scoops Medal. Who will it be this year? Will it be, again, Jack Macrae? Will it be Toig Miller? Will it be Clayton Oliver? Who will it be? You're going to have to wait and find out to the end of round 23 and before week 1 of the finals. First of all, I want to start off with this. You want me on Cameo? Head to cameo.com/Cooper G. There's merch. There's every type of merch item you can possibly think of. There's t-shirts. There's plenty of options for the t-shirts. There's stickers. There's face masks. There's stubby holders. There's hats. All their monitors are on the site. The merch link is in the description of this video. If you're listening on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, please would appreciate a 5-star review or 5-star review. That'd be greatly appreciated. Been a lot of work to this podcast since May 2021. I've been putting a lot over to this my Facebook page since 2013 range, so 9 years. Yes, a lot of effort and dedication put to this channel for everybody, and this Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube channel. And also, you want me on Cameo, head to cameo.com/Cooper G. I want to give a special shout out to someone who recently bought a Cameo, there's plenty of people that have done so greatly appreciate you all, but in particular, this guy who has a group league. He had a league, fantasy, and he booked for a second time. He said he greatly appreciated my first video on Cameo to him with a long, lengthy detail, and he won his Supercoach League, and he came back again for a second video for his group of friends. So I would greatly appreciate if you can all tune into the Cameo. If you don't want to get some merch, it's fine. If you don't want to get some Cameo, as long as you can leave a free, this has cost you nothing, a thumbs up to this video. I want to aim for at least 20 plus for this video. Subscribe to the channel, please, if you haven't already. You're watching me, so clearly you're interested. So why don't I hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell for all notifications, and yes, you will hear me every single week. And if you don't want to listen on YouTube, you don't want to see my face, you want to listen to me still, though, Spotify and Apple Podcasts, you can subscribe to them channels as well and leave a 5-star review, as I said earlier. Now, let's get down to business with that world-famous segment, Scoops Goes Bang! Rats and Kilda. Now, you've all been waiting for this. Well, what can I say? Yes, I'm going to review the game shortly in the coming game against Carlton. Wow, Rats. I put a hashtag Ratten out. That's not saying that's happened. It's probably not going to happen, but it should be considered to happen. It is getting ridiculous, Rats. It really, really is. It's a joke. It's an embarrassment. 8-3. Lost the last 3. There's a fair and good excuse for the Brisbane loss. Having Mitch Owens, D-Mac, Dan McKenzie, Mason Wood playing injured. Basically 3 down for the second half. You could understand that. And Zach Jones, of course, as well. So, sorry, they were the three. Mason Wood was playing injured, or playing sore at least. So, 3 men down, if you don't include Wood. It did not help, that loss. But that excuse for that game was fair. But there was no excuse to lose to a rabble like Essendon, which I described in detail last week. If you didn't see, you can check it again on the channel. But then, you play a much better side in the Swans. You thought, if you lose, okay, you'll cop it. Not ideal. The Swans are in the 8, but they haven't been playing their best. They've scraped the line early in the year, in particular against North Melbourne and Hawthorn. So there was no excuse to get smashed. Swans aren't playing their best, but now it seems like we've brought the Swans back into form. Pathetic. At team selection. Now, I criticise the team selection every single week. And there's a reason why I do so. Because I want what's best for the team. But does Brett Ratten want what's best for the team? Or does he just pick favourites? Now, there's been coaches in the past for lots of clubs that pick favourites. I see there's people complaining about people at North Melbourne, Kane Turner in particular, getting picked. Well, they got injuries. St Kilda got injuries too. But there's favourites galore getting a game that should not. Now, this is not a personal attack on anybody, but people keep saying, oh, you bag him every week. You're insulting him. I'm not threatening the player or players. I'm just picking a side that should be getting picked. This is not a dig at any of the individual players. They don't select the side. Brett Ratten and the selection committee select the side. I outlined players at St Kilda last week that should not be getting picked and players that should be getting picked. So what happened this week against Sydney? Did Rats make a selection statement for, playing garbage against a rabble in Essendon last week, who lost to West Coast this week, by the way, so just proved my point even bloody more. So what did Rats do? In one of the most important games of the year, what did he do? You got Rowan Marshall, you got 2 ruckmen, 2 of the best ruck duo in the competition in Ryder and Marshall. Marshall's been playing injured. And what did he do? He kept the playing sore ruckman in the side and managed the informed ruckman in Paddy Ryder against a team in the 8 and a game that we needed to win to keep our spot in the 8. What did Ratten do? He lost it at selection. He's lost a lot of things lately, and that is one of the worst selection calls he's made as of recent time. Paddy Ryder managed in the game that was important. Tom Hickey was coming in underdone because Peter Laddams got suspended. You ever thought Rats to take advantage of an injured or a rushed return for Tom Hickey? Did you ever think about that? No, clearly not. And clearly he didn't, because if you say, oh, Ryder's that old and needs a rest point, yes, he does. But there was a more than capable ruckman in the VFL named Tom Campbell, who, out of every single game bar one game, Tom Campbell has absolutely destroyed his opposition ruckman. On the weekend, Tom Campbell, to no surprise, had 23 disposals, 41 hit-outs, and a goal. And he wasn't even playing 90+% of the ruck, which he does the majority of the time. Young ruckman Max Heath was in there. So Campbell didn't even play a full game in the ruck, like he normally does. And to get those stats again, and not get considered, what's Tom Campbell done to you, Rats? Why can you play him? Okay, we got him in the ruck in the VFL. We can play him in the team of Ryder with Marshall. Nah. Let's put Ben Long and Cooper Sharman in the ruck. Yeah, real masterstroke, Rats. Yeah, real top genius line coaching from you. Really genius. That is utterly pathetic. That's not Long or Sharman's fault. That is a selection disaster nightmare. Gee, who thought before the game, Rats, or the other assistant coaches and selection, who thought Ben Long and Cooper Sharman in the ruck would work against Tom Hickey, or even a backup ruckman in Sam Reid? Who thought Ben Long was the masterstroke ruck pick? Pathetic. That is embarrassing. Anyone could realise that Ben Long or Cooper Sharman was not going to come close to beating Tom Hickey, let alone Sam Reid in the ruck. That is an embarrassment selection decision. And people think that he's a master. That is a dumb move. That is one of many dumb moves. Then, Rats, you would have thought, after me signaling it out, fans signaling it out, even some of the media signaling it out, that bombing the ball in the forward line does not work. It does not work at all. But yeah, now let's keep that same game plan. Let's bomb it to Max King 5 on freaking 1 and think, well, it's Max King, it'll work eventually. You can be Jason Dunstall. You can be the G-Train. You can be Buddy. No one, at least consistently, is going to win a 5-on-1 contest being the one, no matter who you are. Ratten, that is dumb. Ever thought of not telling them to bomb it? And people say, it's the players bombing the ball. Yeah, clearly it's an instructed move because they would have seen all the talk and frustration of them continuously bombing the ball that it does not work. And they still do it. I don't blame the players for that. That is clearly a strategy. And Brett Ratten, God, ever thought of changing it up? Have you got a plan B? Because plan A does not work if you're going to keep bombing the bloody ball. And did he also, now going back to the selection statement, did he make a statement, Paddy Ryder managed Brad Hill left for personal reasons? I'll leave it at that for that one. But he should have been dropped regardless. His form's been woeful. And people say, he had 26 possessions a week before, 79%. Yeah, chipping the ball sideways in the back half, unopposed, is pretty easy for anyone, even if you can't kick. Yes, he can kick, but that's not the point. Did he make a selection statement? Yeah, he dropped Jack Higgins, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. Was that the right time to drop Jack Higgins? You couldn't have dropped Ben Long in that position. Someone that they floated between half forward and half back because they don't know. Normally when they float places, versatility, some people say it's a key. Yeah, it is a key, versatility, and that's important these days to be versatile. But Ben Long, was being pushed in the back half and the forward half for the wrong reasons. Not because he was playing well or they thought he can go well in the other position. Because he was doing average in one, let's chuck him in another position, his old position, and see if he'd do well there. And of course, that didn't happen. Could have dropped him, but no. He's your favourite, Rats. I know. We all know he's your favourite. Go look at his stats compared to Higgins and Butler, who have been dropped this year, and their stats are better. And their impact in games are better. Because Ben Long's tough, so what? Dan Butler had 5-6 tackles on the weekend. He said that in previous weeks as well, and he was still being dropped throughout the year. Is Ben Long being dropped? No. He's not. He missed one game early in the year. I think it was against Hawthorn, or game prior to Hawthorn. Outside of that, he has not missed at all. He could have dropped him. Could have dropped Dougal Howard. You could have made a statement, but you didn't. Gutless. You had Cal Wilkie, who could have been on Buddy, who was on Buddy in the final 3 quarters after the first quarter. You could have brought in Jared Leonard, Tom Highmore. Jared Leonard can play as a key position defender. Tommy Highmore can play as an intercept defender. Even Dara Joyce. But no, that wasn't good enough for you. You could have brought in any of those names I just said, but you didn't. Heck, you could have brought Dean Ken back in the back position, because if you didn't think that Higgins and Butler were doing well, or even Ben Long, you could have brought Dean Ken in that position, but no, you did not. Could you have dropped Nasiah Wanganeen-Milera? You didn't, because he's also one of your favourites. Being touted as one of the biggest and the best kicks in his draft. Well, he's clearly showing that is not the case at the moment. Can he get there? Sure. Can Ratten drop him? Yes, he can. Be managed twice. I don't believe that for a second. Could you drop him? Drop him and say he's omitted. Don't say managed. Could you drop Ryan Burns? You could have, but you didn't. Could you have dropped... I could have named a few more you dropped, but you didn't. And then today, Simon Lethlean on SEN is saying that he's safe, Rats. Well, Clarko is there. Rats, you need to lift your game. Yes, you made finals in 2020, which was great, in your first year as coach. Didn't have injuries that year, that was great. 2021 had injuries, and look what happened. This year's not really injury-related reasons. It's poor form of selection and team strategies, and that onus is on you. Rats, lift your game. Pathetic. Make a statement this week, but you won't. You won't. Sealy came back. Great to see him come back. But unfortunately, Seb Ross had a good game, and Rowan Marshall, but that's pretty much it. Rats, lift your game. Now, Tom Stewart and Chris Scott. They didn't say the match. He'll be at the tribunal tomorrow night, Tommy Stewart. He's getting a minimum of 3 weeks as of the grading for that hit on Dion Prestia, and I wish Prestia all the best. Now, Tom Stewart, Chris Scott to say, oh, he didn't mean it. He's a lovable guy. It's not in his arsenal to do stuff like that. Whatever wording he used, but that's pretty much the wording he used. Does it matter? He knocked the guy out. He went to run past him and he cleaned him up. Doesn't matter if he didn't mean it. He did it, Chris. He did it. And say, I was not in character, and pretty much trying to say that is why he should be, not let off, but have a lesser punishment. Are you serious, Chris? Are you serious? If someone had done it to your precious love child, Joel Selwood, you'd be hanging their head. You may not publicly say it, but your wording would be a whole lot different. He deserves... Now, is Tom Stewart a dirty player? No. Was it a terrible act? Absolutely. Did he try to knock him out? I don't know if he tried to knock him out. If you've seen the way he ran into Prestia, he tried to clean him up. And he cleaned him up and concussed him. So, I have no sympathy for Tom Stewart's act. It is a pathetic act. Sure, he doesn't do it consistently like some try to do. He's not a dirty player. But this act was dirty. 3+ is the right decision. I watched it back a few times. In first innings, I thought, he's going to cop at least 2. But just think about it. Paddy Ryder got 2 weeks. Yeah, I'm bringing it up again. Paddy Ryder got 2 weeks for bracing for contact and didn't even elbow anyone. He got 2 for that. So what should Tom Stewart get? Should be at least 4. And that's what we shall expect. Even 5. At the tribunal. If he gets 6, well, at least they finally made a statement in tribunal, because Michael Christian and the tribunal have been pretty atrocious for a very, very long time. They've had plenty of examples this year, maybe not to that length, to suspend players to decent suspensions, and they've just let them off with fines. Chris Scott, seriously, I'm more at anger at Chris Scott than Tom Stewart, because Chris Scott is trying to use the excuse of him not being a dirty player to lesser his punishment. To Chris Scott, Tom Stewart, Brett Ratten, selection committee at St Kilda, lift your game! Hope you guys all enjoyed that damn long, extensive edition of the world famous segment Scoops Goes Bang. Leave your thoughts down below. Now, we'll move on to reviewing round 15. Now, hope you guys enjoyed that. But as I said, we're going to move on to reviewing round 15. And what a disappointing round it was. What a disappointing round of upsets, round of close games. Rounds of disappointment for some. And joy for some. Thursday night, all the way back at the MCG, it was Melbourne destroying the Lions by 64 points. 117-53. The Demons were very inaccurate, so this could have been a lot worse. And Chris Fagan said it's the worst game he's ever been a part of, being the coach of the Brisbane Lions. And what's much to say, in a milestone for Harris Andrews, it was a milestone to forget it for game 150 for him. Congrats on that, Harris. But he had a solid game, but there was not many contributors besides him for the Lions, unfortunately. Melbourne, Brayshaw, Viney, Oliver, Luke Jackson were some of the better players. Brayshaw, for his name, Lever, some of Melbourne's best players. 64-point victory puts Melbourne back on top. Lions dropping a few spots, so disappointing for the Lions. On Friday night, it was a Friday night doubleheader, but the one at Marvel, the Dogs 125 smashed the Hawks by 42 points, 83-125. Disappointing for the Hawks. This was a game I thought they could be in there. They were up very early by 4 goals, coughed up that lead, and the Bulldogs from quarter time onwards just started obliterating the Hawks. Sammy Mitchell wouldn't be too pleased with that performance. Mitchell Lewis kicked 4. Luke Bruce kicked 3. About the set of that, really. The Bulldogs took control of the game. McRae, Norton, some of the players for the Bulldogs that took control of that contest. The other Friday night game, the closest of the 2 games on the Friday night, was the Eagles. They got players back. Nick Nat played in the Waffle. Probably back this week or the week after. The Eagles, the bit. This song is one they haven't heard for a very long time, and first time in 10 rounds they've heard that song after the match. And against that side in Essendon, who got very excited after last week, and back to reality this week for Essendon and Ratten. Coaching future is also in question. West Coast 107 defeated Essendon 97. West Coast by 10 points. Peter Wright, 2-metre Peter, kicked 4. Again, having some good form the last few weeks. 2-metre Peter. The Eagles, great to see. Getting players back. Tim Kelly was back from illness last week. They lost Dom Shee before this game, so they were losing some players that they didn't want to lose. They still fought a way to win. Jamie Cripps is great. Josh Kennedy, the veteran, kicking 5, showing how great of a player he truly is for the Eagles. Hopefully for them, they can Nick Nat back, and Dom Sheed, and then they're pretty much back at full strength. And Liam Ryan. So they get those 3 back, and they're back at full strength. The Eagles will be a side, I wouldn't say to be scared of, but a side to be watch out for. They almost beat Geelong. They lost by 3 goals. They easily could have won that game. They beat Essendon, and this week, I know we'll get to who they're playing later, but they play Richmond at the MCG, which will be probably a tough task and they're not expected to win. Just want to keep an eye on for the Eagles for the rest of the season. On Saturday at Marvel, maybe an upset in terms of the margin. Carlton by 31 points over the Dockers, 81-50. Nat 5 didn't play his best game, coming back from a long-term injury. Second game back. Second AFL game back anyway. And wasn't the best for Nat 5 from the Dockers. Andy Brayshaw was pretty solid as he always is. All-Australian form. Brownlow contender. Scripps medal contender for sure too. For Carlton, Sam Walsh was... I don't want to give my votes away. Oh, well, it doesn't matter because you're not going to see him. That's right. Sam Walsh is definitely in the 3 votes contention. Mackay kicking some... Curnow kicking some goals. And all-round good performance for Carlton. Jack Nunes, Doctor, give me the Nunes. He kicked a goal in his 200th. Had a good game, Jack Nunes, over 20 touches. Great for the former Saint to crack up game 200. Had a consecutive game streak, I think, of about 140 at one point, 150. So, great to see Nunes. He cracked the 200. Carlton, been there for a few years now. Close game at the MCG, 89 Geelong, Richmond 86, Geelong by 3 points. People are deeming this game of the year. If you're going to deem this game of the year, you've got to put Port Adelaide and Gold Coast in game of the year contention, because, don't just say it because there's 2 Victorian sides, you've got 2 interstate sides. That's probably why you're going to say Port and Gold Coast are no better. The Port Gold Coast game was similar trend to this. Geelong were up early, Richmond came back. Geelong then hit the front again. Like with the Port Gold Coast, Port Adelaide started off well. Gold Coast came back. Port then went back in front. So same trend. So if you're going to put that in contention as a game of the year or at least game of the round, you have to put Port Adelaide and Gold Coast in that conversation as well. For Geelong, we mentioned Tom Stewart before, so I'm not going to repeat myself. It was their best player, but he won't be there for at least 3+ weeks. Richmond, Tom Lynch kicking some goals. Dion Press, obviously, as I said earlier, got concussed. So I won't play this week, obviously. Close contest. Arden kicked a few, so yeah. Geelong in a close one there. Now, yes, St Kilda and Sydney. I'll already elaborate on this in detail pretty much a little bit. St Kilda 32, 4-8-32 to Sydney 83. Sydney by 51 points at the SCG. Disappointing, Isaac Keeney was pretty good, kicking 3. Tom Public kicked a couple and in 19 possessions. Nick Blakey was probably the Swans' best player. Tom Mickey did pretty solid in the ruck, but as did Rowan Marshall. Rowan Marshall, Jack Steele, Jack Billings. Sinclair was well held by Ryan Clark, who tagged him. Who's had big numbers in the VFL as Ryan Clark, deserved a spot. Did the tagging job of the Sinclair. It's a defensive forward. Defensive forward was Ryan Clark and did well and kicked 2 for himself. So he should be in the side for the Swans this week. He's deserved a spot. Disappointing for the Saints. Rats left a game against Carlton this week against your old side. Sunday games, North Melbourne 58, defeated by the Crows with 57 points, 115. Tex kicked 6. Darcy Fogarty kicked 4. Fogarty. I'm going Fogarty. He kicked 4. He was great with 20 touches in his 50th game for Darcy Fogarty. North Melbourne. Well, I'm not going to say. No, pathetic. Whole round, pathetic. David Noble is in strife, clearly. Following that game was the Pies and the Giants. Collingwood 88. Defeated the Giants 77. Collingwood by 11. Great win for the Pies. We spoke to Craig McRae on Monday last week. And I spoke to him about what type of role would they do on Toby Green kicking 7 the week prior. He did a pretty solid game. Toby Green wasn't a big score involvement player, the game. He had about 19 possessions, kicked a goal late. But I thought they did a good collective job. I said to Craig, what type of player would it be? Quainer? Would it be Howe? Would it be Maynard? He said to me they'll have that meeting the next day, and that prior to last Tuesday, that this Tuesday just gone, and that they probably would go for team collective. And as honest as Craig is, he said that, and that's what they went with. And they did a collective job on Toby Green, and they did pretty well. Darcy Cameron was pretty good and just signed a 3-year extension, as well deserved for Darcy Cameron. Brody Grundy's still 4 to 6 weeks away, as Craig told me on my podcast last week. So they'll still have to go with Cameron and Cox for that time being, but it's working right now. That duo. Interesting debate, though, whether Cameron plays more permanent form and Grundy comes back, or does Grundy have to lesser his 80% plus ruck to maybe 70% or 60%. Give Darcy a bit more time. This has worked for him so far. Jack Crisp was pretty quiet. Yet used his crisp disposal, was pretty quiet for his standards, though. Pies all-round great team effort for them. And Giants, Hogan kicked 4, was good. Isaac Cumming was good, as he always has been. Underrated from the Giants. Jack Ginnivan popped up for a few for the Pies. Lockie Whitfield. Harry Himmelberg at 30 playing in the defence again. Players switching around lately. Himmelberg went up forward again late. Mark McVeigh flinging the magnets around. And then what am I deeming is the match of the round was Port Adelaide and the Suns. Port Adelaide 93, Gold Coast 91, Port by 2 points. Was it deliberate at the end on Tom Jonas? I think it was. I don't think it was. Isaac Rankin would have had the shot on the boundary line effectively on the Cyrus, who wouldn't have been really able to snap it unless he literally went 2 seconds as soon as he got the free. So, yeah, it's disappointing for the Suns. Still in the finals mix. Port keep their finals chances, their slim final chances alive. Both these sides are contenders for 8 this year, as a Collingwood, the Bulldogs, St Kilda, Sydney in that bottom half of the 8 or just outside, and Richmond. So it'll be interesting. Toik Miller was pretty good. Matty Rao, Isaac Rankin, Ben Ainsworth were good for the Suns. For the Power, Carl Amon, who will leave at the end of the year. Dan Houston was pretty good. Charlie Dixon did okay in the ruck, pinch hitting. But Jared Witts was a dominant ruckman on the ground by a mile, though. But yeah, a close win for the Power. They'll be happy with that. Todd Marshall also, I could give credit to, 4 goals was awesome. Riley Bonner was pretty good also. But also Power at home, who flicked on the switch at the Adelaide Oval. Now, let's go through my team of the week. The heavily debated team of the week. Now, I'm going to go from the back line, my round 15, you fool. My round 15 AFL team of the week. From the pockets first, Jack Scrimshaw and Jake Lead. Fullback, Tom Stewart. Half back line, Aaron Hall and Jake Lever. Centre half back, Harris Andrews. Wingers, Jack Viney and Ben Keys. Centreman, Rory Laird. Half forward line consists of Tex Walker and Todd Marshall. Centre half forward, Darcy Fogarty. Forward pockets, Riley West and Jesse Hogan. Full forward, Josh Kennedy from the Eagles. Ruckman, Rowan Marshall. Rovers, Sam Walsh and Will Brodie. Interchange, Angus Brayshaw, Nick Blakey, Harry Himmelberg and Jared Witts. Emergencies, Clayton Oliver, Toik Miller, Mitch Lewis, Peter Wright, Tom Hickey and Riley Bonner. Now, I did say earlier that North Melbourne was pretty much no one. But no, I've got to give credit to Aaron Hall having 38 possessions. And he broke the metres gained record with 1,169 metres gained. Congratulations to Aaron Hall on a record-breaking achievement. Great achievement for Aaron Hall. Reason for some of the selections. People are going to go, how's Rowan Marshall in there? Well, Jared Witts is awesome. He's also in the team. 2 ruckmen this week. You also could have had Tom Hickey and in that position. So, it was really hard to pick the ruckman this week. Rowan Marshall's stats were unbelievable. Did pretty well. Tom Hickey did well too. That's why he was the next choice ruckman. But Marshall was better than Hickey, so Marshall got the nod. And Jared Witts was also great, so it was hard to leave both of them out. So they're both in the team. Walsh, Brody, all the selections that I'm not going to go through were self-explanatory. People might say, Harris Andrews, a team loss. So what? It's about the individual. He had 15 intercept possessions and 1% is combined. Plus. So he deserved a spot in the team. Riley West kicked 3, had about 19 possessions, a lot of scored moments, 3 goal assists, so it was a no-brainer in the end. A lot of halfbacks, Brayshaw and Blakey, Himmelberg, intercept defender. A lot of good plays in the key forward, and Sox and Mitch Lawson, Peter Wright pissed out. They both kicked 4 and were good. But I've already got enough key forwards in there. Got Walker, Fogarty, Todd Marshall, Kennedy, and Hogan. At least Hogan and Marshall and Walker got a bit more flexibility in them. It's rather there. Himmelberg, the reason he's also in the back line is because there's a tall back line already. And you got Himmelberg as well, but he's an interceptor that can float around the ground as well. The mids, there wasn't as many dominant mids as you would have liked, so that's the reasoning for my selections for the round 15 AFL Team of the Week. Please leave your thoughts down below. We'll now go preview round 16, and it's an interesting round, an important round for size, hanging around the 8. So we'll now go preview round 11, and it was a very interesting round of football coming up. Well, it is going to be an interesting round coming up, I should say. Not has been, will be. Starts on Thursday night in the Gabba. At the Gabba, the Lions need to bounce back against the Bulldogs, 7:20 Victorian time. I'm going to go for the Brisbane Lions here, purely because they're at home. It's an important win. And hopefully St Kilda say the Lions get the win. Speaking of St Kilda, Friday night at Marvel Stadium, huge clash. Important for both sides. Carlton to stay in the 4, St Kilda to get back in the 8. 7:50 Marvel Stadium, probably the game of the round of the Brisbane game. Saints need a win. I'm obviously tipping the Saints. Carlton are in some great form now. Again, bouncing back against Freo, which is a big win. So I'm a little bit concerned. Paddy Ryder and Brad Hill will be back, which is great. Bring back Jack Higgins, bringing Tom Highmore, Jared Leanett, Tom Campbell. Someone, rats. God, going for the Saints. Saturday, 1:45 at the MCG. Got Essendon hosting the Swans. 1:45 going to Swans. Adelaide Oval, Twilight Saturday, 4:35. Crows hosting Melbourne and going Melbourne at the Adelaide Oval. Now, this is an interesting big clash for Craig McRae's Pies and Stewie Jew's Suns. Suns versus Pies, 7:25 Saturday night at Victorian time at Metricon, 11th v 7th. It is even tighter than that. I'm going for the Suns at home. Saturday night at GMHBA, Snooze Fest, 7:25. Geelong hosting North Melbourne. Geelong, easily. Sunday, that's at 7:25, Victorian time, GMHBA, if I didn't say that already. Sunday, July 3rd, 2:10, MCG. Richmond hosting West Coast. Richmond should win. Now, this will be interesting. Sunday, 3:20, Giant Stadium, Victorian time is 3:20. GWS hosting Hawthorn. Going the Giants, but this should be an interesting clash. And finally, the end of the round, a very important clash for the Dockers at home at Optus Stadium, 5:20 Victorian time, hosting the Power. Freo versus Port. Freo want to bounce back at home, just in general too. I'm going for the Dockers there to end round 16 with a win and cement a spot in the top 4, hopefully for their sake. Now, leave your tips for the round down below. And please leave a thumbs up if you haven't already. Now, I'm going to go through my Supercoach talk. This round, I had a good round, scored 2,378, still in the top 9%, so I haven't really moved. I only moved up about 100 places, but it's a progression to back in that top 5%, averaging for the season 2,186. Unless you're in the top 9%, you cannot tell me otherwise that you're doing better than me. But I've had injuries galore like we all have with the ruck, Giro. Unbelievable. Luke Jackson's got 122 as the solo ruck. Hopefully Gorn's out for longer. So I'm going to stick with Jackson the rest of the year, more than likely. I've made 2 trades so far. I wanted to upgrade Greg Clark to a premium, but the premium I could really be getting was around 450. I thought, nah, or 400 actually, I think, or 410. I thought, no, I'm not doing it because no one really worth it. Only averaging around 60s and 70s. I thought it's not worth it. You might as well have a rookie still. So I went another move. I was going to obviously move for Tom Stewart. I've gone Hayden Young. I didn't go Jordan Dawson. There's a reason I'm doing this, and it's a very secretive reason why I'm doing this. Hayden Young, one of the most improved young players this year. Leaves me 308. So I've now also traded Greg Clark to Jai Manzi, Nathan Cooper. Why Jai Manzi? He's probably not getting the game this week. He may not if he performed the very following weekend. Essendon can't make finals. Essendon lost to West Coast. Jai Manzi is a chance, and regardless, I wanted to get someone that could potentially play because he's going to be on the bench. I've got Brady Hoff for this week. And the next week, my plan is to trade Brady Hoff up to someone around 570,000, which is the ideal scenario. That's what I'm going with. And there's some names in that mix that are worth getting at that price. So we'll just have to wait and see who I get. But now, for the team, I'm going to read it out one by one. For you listeners on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, also here you go. From the back line, James Sicily, Jack Sinclair, George Hewitt, Jack Crisp, Jaden Short, and Hayden Young. Bench, Jacob Ware and Sam Skinner. Midfielders, Clayton Oliver, Rory Laird, Lockie Neal, Jack McRae, Toik Miller, Andy Brayshaw, Patrick Cripps, and Brady Hoff. Bench, Jack Carroll, Mitch Owens, and Jai Menzies. Ruckman, Luke Jackson, and Riley O'Brien. And Brian Teakle, bench. Forward line, on field, Stevie Canelio, Will Brody, Jade Gresham, Adam Trelaw, Pat Lipinski, and Isaac Kenny. Bench, Cooper Hamilton, and Ned Long. Leave your thoughts down below my team. I like it. I really do. But leave your thoughts down below. Any Supercoach advice you guys want, please send me a message on Instagram at AFL Info Live or on Facebook if you're not blocked. And if you're blocked, well, that's your problem, not mine. Don't be offensive. Yeah, so I'm pretty happy with that. As I said, Brady Hoff upgrade to someone around 570 in the mid, and then I'll have a whole premium team, which will be great. So, yeah, we'll have to wait and see how it goes. I'm hoping to get back in the top 5%. Just remember, I know what I'm doing. I won Supercoach. I was ranked number 1 in round 5. That t-shirt is still available on the website, on my merch link in the description. So, appreciate if you can go support me by buying a t-shirt, mug. Not a mug, no, not mug. T-shirts, stickers, Starpy holders, face masks, and yeah, it's all on there. Stickers, you can all, Starpy holders, you can get them all there still. Now, I want to go through my rolling All-Australian team. Now, there is some changes. In fact, there is 3 changes. So I'm going to go through those changes very soon. And there's potentially more in upcoming weeks. You've had Tom Stewart being suspended and some players on the cusp of being omitted. My rolling All-Australian team after round 15. From the back line, first, the pockets, Cal Wilkie and Sam Doherty. Full back, Sam Taylor. Half back line, Jack Sinclair and James Sicily. Centre back, Tom Stewart. Wingers, Josh Kelly and Jack McRae. Centreman, Lockie Neal. Half forward line, Rory Laird and Will Brody, positional moves. Centre half forward, Jeremy Cameron, positional move. Forward pockets, Charlie Cameron. And the new inclusion, Aaron Norton at full forward in the other pocket, Charlie Curnow. Followers, the Ruckman, Jared Witts. Rovers, Clayton Oliver and Andy Brayshaw. Interchange, George Hewitt, Jack Crisp. And the new inclusion, Sam Walsh and the returning Ben Keys. So the overall change from round 15 for the round 15 All-Australian team, rolling All-Australian team, is in Aaron Norton, Sam Walsh and Ben Keys out. Paddy Cripps, Zach Bailey and Max Winksy King. Not Max's fault, but he's had a few quiet games. The delivery's been shocking. and they've pretty much cost him a spot in my team. So Norton replaces King, Walsh replaces Cripps, and Keys, positional-wise, replaces Zach Bailey, with some players moving onto the ground in the forward half. Keys slots to the bench. So, yeah, leave your thoughts on my rolling Australian team down below. Now, my final thoughts are simply this. You want me on Cameo, head to cameo.com/CooperG merch. There's multiple times. T-shirts, stickers, stubby holders, hats, face masks, the whole lot on the site. It would greatly appreciate some support. And also, I do plan to have some more big guests on the show. I'm in talks with some. I really want to keep progressing this podcast channel, YouTube channel, for interviews. Had Craig McRae on twice. I've had some great guests, Jane Stevenson, Sarah Rowley, Dan Menzel. There's so many great guests. I've had Nick Eashan from Connor Sports Management, the play manager of Dan McStay, and a few others, Pat Lipinski and others. I want to get some more big guests like them on in the future, and some of the other guests I've had on in the past. I'm in the works with some. We're hoping to get a spread of AFL, AFLW, and players like that from other sports as well. I just want to build the podcast. I take whoever I can get. I ask a lot of people. I really hope that I could have some people on. That's what I want to do. I want to do more interviews for you guys. I love doing this podcast every week. But the main aim is to keep doing more interviews with AFL people, ex-AFL players, AFLW players, whoever it is. I want to get them on. So I've got more content for you guys because that's the aim of this. And the aim is also to break into the area because it's something I really want to get into. Been trying for a long time, and I would appreciate if those trolls would stop making up fake crap. To you loyal people, I really appreciate you tuning in. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Leave a thumbs up. Greatly appreciate it. We want to aim for 20 at least in this video. If we haven't reached it, make sure we get to 20 before I end this clip. And if we got over 20 already, keep going. Costs you absolutely nothing to leave a like, so greatly appreciate that. Until next time, everyone, have a great one. Most important thing of all to remember is, should I say that? Yeah, I will. Acknowledge me and go the Saints. Thanks, guys and girls.